You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Shoe In Show. Thanks for joining us for this week's episode. One thing, Sandy, that we saw in our holiday survey and that we continue to see in the data that we collect, both directly from a number of footwear companies that report to us, but also in total shoe sales that we collect from U.S. government sources and other sources, is that the level of purchases in store is back on track. It's rising again. Obviously, e-commerce is going to do just fine, and we always talk about, e-commerce is growing, and there's been this narrative for a while that footwear stores are on the decline, but they're not actually. It's actually folks are re-engaging. They're going back in store, probably above 2019 levels, which is really exciting. I think the challenge for retailers are, continue to attract them and create experiences and value as they come in the store that they can't get online. So I think that's, for today's episode, is kind of what we're focused on is how we do that and how we add value to consumers coming in the store and provide them something a little bit extra and maybe a little bit more fun too.
That's right. I'm excited about our guest today. They will talk a little bit about their journey in the U.S. and what's progressing and what's doing well for them and some of the opportunities and the challenges. But first, let me start out by introducing them today. We have Deding from IMBOX Protection. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. And Oliver Hede, General Manager of North America, based in Chicago. He's been here for a few years and has been doing phenomenal work in the footwear industry. And I'm really excited to have him on. A good friend of mine. Oliver, welcome.
Thank you so much, Sandy. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's exciting to see you guys. And you're right, Andy. I think that brick and mortar has definitely been an exciting hotspot in the footwear industry. We have seen people back at work, the revival of cities, people shopping, experiencing new things, wanting to see new, fresh product. They're out of their slippers for the moment and looking to dress up again and find something new to buy. And it's great that brick and mortar and footwear is doing pretty well right now. And Oliver and Jan have a really interesting, cool product that they're bringing to many brick and mortar stores across the country. And I'd love to hear, Oliver, how are you doing? I know you've made some progress since we last spoke. So tell us a little bit about your product and some of the progress that you've had.
Yes, thank you, Sandy. I believe last time we met was back in July and August when we just announced our launch here on the North American market. And it's been quite the journey since. Today you can find our IMBOX units in California, in Minnesota, in New York, and we also have a pretty cool showroom here in Chicago. So we had a good start, and thankfully the feedback from the consumers is great. We had our expectations, but you never know, right? The feedback from the stores also excellent. So now we're ready to push on the throttle and get going.
That's right. That's really exciting for you guys, and I'm thrilled for your success. I think that once you get it in the store and people understand how it works and how simple it is and how it really does speak to our efforts for sustainable footwear. I know it's safe. I know you've had some really great traction with some running stores and some outdoor markets and some comfort shops. Jan, just tell us a quick snapshot on what you think the opportunity is in the U.S. I know you've had tremendous growth all across Europe and in Japan and other markets, but tell us where the opportunity lies in the U.S. and maybe some of the differences.
Yeah. Actually, when we did look at the North American market, obviously this is very exciting for us to enter any new market. We've been looking at the North American market for a couple of years before really entering. We done our homework in the sense that we knew the size of the market. But what always is interesting for us to see is how do the consumers react? How do the store react? when we introduced the IMBOX concept. Is it the same as we had with the experience from Europe, where we are in 27 countries with running 30 million treatments on an annual basis as we speak right now?
Wow.
And yeah, and so getting into the US market, we have been really, really positively surprised. We've been reconfirmed that consumers act more or less the same. Where we've seen a difference between the European market and the US market is the consumers. They understand right well. The American consumer apparently seems to be much more accepting and willing to say yes than we do in Europe. Yes to the convenience, to the service, to this is done in store. The willingness to say, I just bought a nice pair of shoes, I want to protect them. That has been positively surprised to us, that it's higher than we expected, even higher in Japan. We measure what we call the hit rates, meaning that's the, say, 1,000 pair of sold per shoes. How many do we sell with IMBOX? And we best performing stores we have right now in the US is 70%. In average in Europe, we had 40%. I know it's a small volume to measure because we don't have that many stores just yet, but that feedback has been really, really good.
That's great. People
so
really, yeah, people seem to really like having a new pair of shoes and understanding that this will help these protect the shoes and make them last longer. And when I buy a new pair of shoes for myself or for my kids and I'm spending the money, absolutely will I spend a little bit more money to make them last just a little bit longer, make them look good, keep them in great shape. Absolutely, yes, from me.
What's the one? I am interested in looking at this both from a retailer perspective, because obviously we work with a lot of brands and retailers that will look at this, but also I first want to look at it from a consumer standpoint, right? So I'm in the store. I'm going to purchase a nice pair of shoes from Polk Footwear, which is the greatest retailer of all time. And so your products, in the store, what does it look like and what's my experience with it? Like what's the process for me to use your service and the cost for a consumer to use your service?
Yes, perfect question, Andy. And I also like that store, actually, Polk Footwear.
Yeah.
It's a great store, right? So what you will experience now, you can't see it here. Obviously, the unit takes around 2 square feet of space. It's maybe on 1.5 meters. I'm sorry about the metric system.
No,
there. And on the front, you will see a 24-inch display that will show captivating videos. They can be seasonal or they can be related to the store. On the top, you'll see a spinning turntable where you have the shoe of the month, something that will grab your attention. And most often, this will be by the checkout area. Now, in your purchasing process, obviously it's different. We understand every store is completely different. Every store personnel, every store manager, every district manager is different, right? But we try to bundle it up with their other activities so that you will be asked, Andy, probably between picking your shoe and paying for your shoe while you're still in buying mode. And that's really important for us. It's important that we don't make it more complicated for the retailer, and also that we don't make it more difficult for the consumer. You went in there to buy a pair of shoes. Now you also need them protected, right? So then you'll be asked, do you want your shoes protected? And it only costs, to your question, $7 to spray your shoes. You take the shoes and put them inside the unit. You pick the treatment size, and then the process starts. It only takes a minute. First, the machine will scan your shoe. Then it will spray them with exactly the right amount of fluid, depending on the size. And then the heating process starts. Because the fluid is water-based and organic, it takes a little bit longer to dry and to heat up the footwear. But you can use it on any type of material. Doesn't stain or anything like that. It protects them all. And because of the heating elements, we're able to protect against a lot of things, such as stains, water, salt, color fading, making it an all-season product, which is a little bit different than when you have to go home and spray it yourself.
Yeah, that's what I have. I have the spray at home where I'm constantly spraying it and then wondering, do I need to spray it again? And then I get it all over my hands, and then I get mad, and then So I think it's interesting because what you're talking about is if it's in store, you got a billboard, right? As a retailer, there's an extra billboard, so there's automatically value there. And then obviously it's providing that extra value to the consumer to say, let's make the shoes last longer. We want to help you. And it's building that relationship that we know retailers are constantly trying to have. And I remember a friend of mine runs a shoe store from college, actually, not just knowing in the footwear industry, but he runs a shoe store down south. And he, in this environment, he's like, I've got to nail that person every single time, meaning like when they come in the store, I've got to be on my game. I've got to be nice. I got to be personable. I got to sell a shoe to them every single time they're in my store, or I'm losing money, obviously. Right. So in that environment, when you're like talking about that and building relationships, something like this in the store, I think is very valuable. And the price point is not bad at all. Especially, I mean, if you're spending $100 or more to keep those things going. Do you guys have any like data on like what the life extension is, or what the value proposition is? Because obviously, I think if someone's using it and they get the an extra 6 months or whatever off this, then they'll and also like once they do it one time, what's the stickiness of this? Right? How many do they come back again and want to do it again? Right.
Right. So. Obviously, we want to make it sustainable. We don't want to use too harsh chemicals such as C8, right, fluor, and so on. Also, not nanocoating is not very healthy, so we don't do these type of things. And I think to speak to something that most of us know about is the classic aerosol that might last you 1 or 2 weeks.
Yep.
For comparison.
Yep.
You spray it in here, it will last 6 to 8 weeks depending on use. So if you walk through snow, salt, it's going to tear off faster, the layer of protection, than if you walk on a sunny day, right? Also, depending on the material you're wearing.
Okay. I mean, I like that. I like the sustainability aspect because obviously that's a big concern. But the other sustainability aspect is the life extension, Sandy, and the durability. And I'm wondering, when I do these shows, you get ready, buckle in, because I have ideas, right? So I'm just wondering if the retailer can then say, okay, I've got this data of these people who chose this service. So I have a list of people who protected their footwear. And I know it just snowed. So maybe I email them and say, hey, it just snowed. You had your shoe protected. You might want to come back in the next 2 weeks and do it again. Come in the store. I'll give you 10% off your next pair. I got all this excess inventory I got to move. And this is an opportunity to say, take it or leave it. But I'm not selling you a shoe. I'm selling you a service that you already have a shoe. And then you're going to come in, you're going to buy an extra pair. So all of a sudden, the value play, Sandy, between that relationship gets even better, and you have
it's a good marketing tool, and it's a good way to target people. Also, having some kind of loyalty or discount, app or something that every time they do it, they have 3 times, and then they get the 4th one free or something like that. Just it's another way to market yourself and keep yourself visible and relevant. Those are some good ideas, Andy.
Right. Yeah, and it is a good point. I think based on, obviously we have the biggest platform in Europe as we speak. There we have roughly 12% return rate. So that translates into quite a few people are returning back to the brick and mortar store. But also some of our bigger customers, they do have loyalty programs where they tap into it. They do send out communication to the team or the customers who are on the loyalty apps and say, now it's time to retreat your shoes. Well, what makes us most happy is also they just say, consumers, they come back because they can see the difference. Not only the shoes they bought, their favorite shoes back home, they bring to the store. We see customers coming with a full bag of shoes. We got 7-8 pairs of shoes being treated. That has this is what we love the most, because then we know that they liked it. We know they come back because the white sneaks look nicer, longer. They're much easier to clean if you're a parent. So this is what we really enjoy. One of the things I think Andy or Sandy, you asked, what's different from the US than to Europe. I was visiting one of our customers in Minnesota, and the associate in the store, they learned me something definitely, because some of the things Americans are much better than we are in Europe is the service, the engagement with the customer. When we made the IMBOX unit, we did not foresee that this associate would take the customer and say, do you want to put in the program yourself? Do you want to put in your shoes yourself? And they did that when they had time for it, not doing full time during the day because they were busy hours, but the time when they had And the consumers, they were just, okay, they got a really, really nice feel. They just treated their own shoes now. They can also see it on the display, live feed. But for them to place the shoes in the box and chose the program themselves while the associates were just standing next to them, that left me with a great feeling saying, this guy, the associate, really understood to the customer, give the customer a unique experience. And with the kid in front to see his shoes being treated by his mom. This would probably not have happened in Europe. At least I haven't seen it before. But that's, this is thinking customer experience.
Interesting, because people are looking for something new. They're looking for a new experience. They love tech and they love to touch and feel it. And outside of the department stores and outside of some of the bigger, the bigger box stores, I think that when you're walking into an independent or a brick and mortar, that's exactly how they stand apart from others, is the customer service. And they know they have to do something special or different. So now they're given a tool and a product and a service that's going to offer something more valuable to their customer when they walk in the door. So not surprised to hear that about the Americans versus some other places. I'm excited about that opportunity. I know that you're looking across category. I know that you want to get into dress and every single store, but what maybe one or two categories, Oliver, are you targeting or are you looking to really get into that you feel like would really offer the most value at this time? Is it the running market or outdoor? Tell us a little bit about what you're shooting for.
Yes, that's a very good question, Sandy. And I also want to reaffirm what you said in the beginning. It is for every type of shoe. We didn't know that when we launched IMBOX. We were thinking, okay, it's definitely for the classic shoe. You want to look nice for the events when you spill a drink during a wedding or something like that, or the winter boot because of the salt and stuff like that, right? But we've seen a great uptick in sales from the athletic stores. It's really good to see that because you buy fancy shoes, you buy expensive running shoes, and you run through puddles, right? And so you want to protect them to look nicer. We also see just the general shoe stores, the big box retailers are great for us because they have such a high volume, and it's a way for them to get a service experience, right? Where usually they don't fit people inside the store and bring them all the way to the register. You pick your own shoe out and then you go there. But now they get a new layer of service in the store that's very convenient, and it's a lot of fun to upsell things when the customer says yes and you're doing them a favor, right? So I think right now those are some of our key targets, obviously, but we are looking at everyone and want to do partnerships and learn from everyone, and we'll also bring our knowledge to the table with whoever we connect with.
Let me ask you from a retailer perspective, when you go and talk to them about this, what's the breakdown of conversation? Like, how do you present this to them? Like, obviously that you need space in their store, but is there a setup cost to doing this? Is there a revenue sharing? Is there, what's the ROI for a retailer to work with you guys?
Yeah, so we always want to try and look at what is the retail struggling with today and what are the obstacles they have. We don't want to bring them another burden, right?
Right.
So we talk to them about, it's obviously new technology. It's nice, it's fancy, right. It does good service, but we want to boil it down to what are the actual benefits for the store. So in this case, it's a inventory-free product, right? You just have the 2 square feet in your store. The canister with fluid in there is good for around 3 months. We'll ship you new fluid as you go along. We have scales measuring how much fluid is left connected to Wi-Fi. So no need to have a lot of fluid out there. So first of all, no inventory. That's great these days, right? In terms of the business model, we really perfected that in a way, we think, because it's cash flow positive from day one. Pay a limited rental fee. And with that includes treatments that is way below what your actual target is going to be. So it's as low risk as it can be for implementing it. And we handle everything related to installation, maintenance if it needs some, replenishing of fluid, and training the sales staff to the extent we're allowed, right? Because they also have other projects. Mm-hmm. So we give it the all-inclusive service, so it shouldn't take up too much time for the retailer. And that's the story we're trying to tell and talk to them about. Sometimes we also get the sense it sounds too good to be true. There's no hidden fees in there. It is all included. Nothing's going to come back later on. It's just a good win-win situation for the retailer, for us, and for the customer. And this value chain split is around 70-30% in the retailer's favor, depending on volume, of course.
Yeah.
And maybe to add, we always start with what we call a risk-free trial, typically 8 weeks time. To if a store has say 100 stores, we will test with 3, pilot with 3 stores, get the experience with the customer, so they can see the business case. Because for most customers, this is new stuff. Why would they necessarily trust when we say you can have 30, 50, 70% hit rate? The best way to document it is to put in the unit for free. The only thing they pay for us is during the pilot period, a fee per sold treatment. And this is also our investment in our product and in that particular customer before we make the rollout in 100 stores at a later point.
Awesome. Well, I think, again, as we said, people are going back into stores, and this is also a part of a broader conversation about what stores will look like, right? We were talking about that before COVID. COVID accelerated that. Like, what do our stores need to look like, and how do they need to function in this world where people may want 6 feet of space, and they may, but also like they need to get in and out really quickly, but still have an experience, still find what they need very quickly. So technologies help with that. But I foresee like a future, and I'm always, some people call me a dreamer, but I see a future where you don't have a checkout station. I see a future where if I go to the certain restaurants now, I'm checking out at the table, right? They've already got my information. I just hit a button, or I see a lot now in restaurants where I saw it when I lived in the UK is the you don't put your check down and the person picks it up and takes it away. They got a scanner right there. They put your credit card in the machine. You know exactly what's happening. So I foresee like where you don't go up and stand in line to check out, the associate helping you provide you with full service, right? They'll find the shoe for you. They'll help you find the fit. They will, at the same time you're checking out, they're going to use your technology and service to protect their shoes. So that 1 minute isn't wasted time. It's you're getting checked out, you're watching it at the same time. It's fluid, and then they're out the door. And so that's where I think we're headed is we need things like this in our stores to build towards the future of experience and engagement and value to the consumer and engagement. So
interesting. Andy, are you suggesting that in the future that IMBOX and a fintech company merge and paying for all of it together, right? Yeah. So they're getting their shoes protected.
Why not? You can literally walk up and tap, why can I go to the grocery store and tap my phone on something and pay for it automatically? Like, why do I need a checkout process with people giving me, like, I would love also to do away with bags completely. I don't need a bag for my shoes. Thanks very much. I can just take them in the shoebox and go home. Like, I don't so there's all this wasted time and things where we're like, oh, we're trying to we're on the margins as an industry, right? We're on the margins of if we move this showcase to over here, no. Let's do away with the whole checkout altogether. Check about direct, scan get your shoes protected at the same time you're getting checked out. Talk to them about the importance of coming back in 8 weeks. To do it again or bring more shoes in, come back in the store. Here's 10% off if you want to come back and scan some of your other shoes to buy a new pair. There's a ton of stuff, but it's just, these are the things we need to do. But I think you're right. I think it's the IMBOX, and we're not trying to change their business model, obviously, but it could be the checkout center too. Why not? You just add you add something to it and then you got something. So that's the fun thing about this show is we get to talk about this, right? It's a free space. Who knows what's going to happen, but the ideas are important and the technologies are important.
That's fair. Oliver and Jan, I do want to say thank you guys for coming on today. Can you tell us, Oliver, how we can reach you if we'd like to contact you about getting in touch and using your product and having you come in?
Yes, and it's been a pleasure, Sandy. How to get in contact with us? You can go on our website, of course, inboxprotection.com. There's also a way where you can fill out to get a business case for your particular chain. to get an idea of what revenue this can drive for you. Obviously, you can also reach out to me on email or LinkedIn, ohh@inboxprotection.com. And we will also be in New York here in November, depending on when this show launches, of course. But we'll have the machine there for you to try out, Andy. Awesome. But there's a lot of good information. We have something in footwear news, and our website talks about sustainability and how it works in store, how implementation goes. So we'd love to talk to anyone out there, even if it's just a casual talk of how we get a better in-store experience in the store.
Thank you. And Oliver, and if you didn't catch that, you can also reach out to any of us, Sandy or Andy, or info@fdra.org, and we can put you in touch with Oliver or Jan if you wish. Again, thank you both. Thank you, Jan, as well.
Thanks for having us. It was great.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. Yeah. Appreciate your involvement and what you guys are doing and rooting you on for this. Cause I think I haven't heard of anybody else doing this. So if you're a retailer out there and you're looking to add value and add revenue, this is where it's at. And I think they're offering you a risk-free trial. Like, why, just free money. It's the only free money. It's the only free money in America now that the Fed has raised rates again. So I encourage you to, reach out and see about that.
Maybe you should join our team here, Andy. That would be great.
Yeah.
And if we see each other in New York, I would love to continue the discussion about the self-service checkout, because this is really, really a hot item for many, many of our customers where, some of them, they just do implement the self-service checkout without offering the consumer anything experience. To me, that's a danger to why would I then go to a store? I might as well do it online. But we'd really like to discuss with the retailers, do offer something unique when you're in the store. The IMBOX itself is pre-made for it, with the app, with the integration. But the idea about making it at the full checkout center, also for the payment. I think that's a cool thing, and I think it would be cool to discuss more.
Yeah,
I think you got something. Definitely, that could be.
Well, I think people don't like self-checkouts. They're frustrating because you got to scan something and it didn't work. Then you got to put in a coupon, and then somebody's like, "Hey, I got to check your ID because you're buying wine." It's like, come on, like look at me. Like I'm not, my wife likes her IDs to be checked, but me, I'm just like, come on, like this is ridiculous. So like just that aspect, I think we have this barrier in retail, and if we're in this new world where we have engagement, I just remember I worked fast food when I was a teenager. And I remember I was trying to solve a customer's problem one time. And the owner of the company came over. He goes, "You need to walk around the counter so they know you actually care. Like you're using the counter as a buffer because you're afraid. Walk around so they actually know you're listening to them and you're engaging with them. You can solve the problem that you care." Yeah. I'm like, and I think we're using this barrier where somebody walks up and we have this like nice little talk where the shoes are like, do it on the floor room, walk over to where they are, meet them there, ask them what they're looking for, check them out right there, get the instant sale, like do away with that. Like we need floaters around. We need people talking to other people. People want to be treated well in this day and age. They don't want to be, be like, oh, well, it's, we don't want to bother you. It's like people walk into a store and they want to, you're only bothering them if you hover and you're not adding value. If you're adding value, it's never a bother to a consumer. And I think that's the difference that will nail it. But yeah, so the conversation continues. We appreciate you guys coming on, and looking forward to see you guys in New York and many of the other events that are now going on. And folks, again, shoeandshow.com. Is the website. It's our full catalog. I encourage you to go back there. We talk about a number of things, and this show really is about like sometimes it's brainstorming, sometimes it's finding new products, sometimes it's sharing the data. So this is the Industries Podcast where we have an open space to see how we make what we do a little bit better and serve our customers a lot better. And we appreciate you listening, and we appreciate Jen and Oliver for coming on. We appreciate you guys very much. Thank you very much.
You too.
All right. On behalf of Sandy and myself, some people have to combine their names like Benifer, but Sandy and I already have it combined. So we're well ahead of the game. So on behalf of myself and Sandy and our whole team at FDRA, thank you guys very much. And next week, brand new episode drops. Make sure you're listening. Until next time, Shoe In is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.